welcome to a slightly later, actually, One Show with Matt Baker.
Yes, and Alex Jones, and we are on half an hour later so that the news could cover the tens of thousands of people who've lined the streets of Manchester, look, for the homecoming parade celebrating Team GB's Olympic and Paralympic heroes after their remarkable success in Rio. Let's have a round of applause for all the heroes in Manchester. There's another parade actually in London tomorrow night. But,
although we're on the same time tomorrow, aren't we?
We are.
Now, talking of homecomings, our guest tonight has just announced that he'll be playing his first big concerts since he was last on stage 9 years ago. Now, we could sit here and tell you how many albums he sold.
Could. Or how many top 10 hits he's had.
Yeah. Or how many music awards are on his mantelpiece.
But we're not going to do any of that. Instead, we are just going to let you enjoy some of the best. Here we go. Oh, yes, please welcome. It's Phil Collins and the One Show
Phil Collins. Well,
tremendous.
I mean, we just did that really embarrassing thing of singing your songs while you're sat there because it's you can't help it, can you?
Oh, it's nice. It's nice to hear it. You've got a nice voice.
Oh, only you. You're the first one to say that, Phil, ever.
To be fair, though, you were tapping away
No,
as
I
well. You were doing the old bass
I was just trying to bang the leg back into life.
Come on.
Okay,
You have announced that you're going to be doing some concerts in London, Paris, Cologne. By the time you get on stage, it'll be 10 years since the last time. Why the change of heart then? Because 6 years ago, you said that you were going to retire.
Yeah. Well, I did, you know. I mean, I did want to stop. And I did want to stop mainly because, you know, being married with Oriana and having 2 young children, and Matthew had just born and Nicholas was about 3 or 4, I wanted to be at home and be a dad.
Yeah.
You know, that was very important to me. Unfortunately, my marriage broke up around that same time, which means that when I retired, there was no family to be with. But anyway, you know, I kind of felt that I kind of wanted to get off the roundabout. But now I'm back with the kids, the 2 younger kids, and I'm back with Oriane. They've encouraged me, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, when they get in the car, it's like, play Daddy's music. I'm saying, really?
Is that true?
Really? Yeah, play Daddy's music.
Yeah.
And then Matthew, who is now 11, he'll say, well, when are you going to write some new stuff, Dad? You know. So you know, they're really to blame.
Well, we like all the
know,
classics.
but that's the
don't we?
point. It's so cross-generational, your music. I remember as a young lad, you know, I used to travel a long, long way to train for gymnastics, and every single night my mum used to put your music on. So I grew up with it just because of my mum who loved it, and now I pass it on to my children as well. So, you know, we'll talk about this tonight because we've got a lot to get through.
Yeah, we've got your book, your album, it's all going off, Phil.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all systems go, as they say.
Well, before all of that,
yes.
First of all, I'll put your motoring head on.
All right.
Okay, you're just passing a cyclist. You see them on the road
Yeah.
there. Okay, how much room are you going to give them? And actually, do you know how much room you're supposed to give them?
Not officially, no.
No? Well, that's the question we're asking tonight.
Because Trish has been out with one police force who are trying to make sure that drivers keep cyclists at arm's length.
And Trish has cycled here. Trish has cycled here. Incredible. It's lovely to see you. Let's just clarify then. So cyclists can cycle a full metre away from the curb?
Absolutely. Forget mind the gap. It's a huge gap. And the highway code doesn't actually specify where a cyclist should position themselves. Use the default position. That's the advice. We spoke to Cycling UK and Cycle Training UK, and they said just make sure that you can be seen, and if in doubt, use the middle of the lane as a default position.
OK, so is this scheme going to be rolled out across the entire country?
Yes, it is. The Met Police in Camden are already doing it. Police Scotland are looking at it. And it's gone as far as Canada, Australia, Denmark and Switzerland.
Wow.
So they're looking to take this on. Undercover pedal police are here to stay.
Wow. My brother-in-law's in Humberside.
No, I don't
Police.
care.
I can't imagine him in Lycra.
I don't care what you said. I have to say...
Go on.
...that within 2 or 3 minutes of being in London last night, I saw a cyclist cycling across a red light without any lights on.
Well, this is
Yeah.
the thing, because there's big fines for that, Trish.
Absolutely, you know, and cyclists do get fined if they cycle badly.
Right.
For example, in Great Manchester Police, you can do a course to avoid the fine, but, you know, if you don't, you get...
Like a speed and awareness.
Yeah,
but for
he was
bikes,
cycling
yeah.
very well, but just in the dark.
Going through.
Red lights, you know what I mean? It wasn't like he was cycling bad, he was fantastic.
But let's be honest, motorists are still to blame in serious collisions.
Yeah.
57% of motorists didn't even see the cyclist at junctions.
Well, they've got no lights, that's all.
Trish, thank you very much.
We'll have to leave it there.
Fleeting
We're going to
visit.
stay on the streets, though, actually, aren't we?
Well, yeah, staying on the streets, 25 years ago today, this magazine here was a big thank you to Sir John Bird. The 25th anniversary issue of The Big Issue is out now.
Inspirational stuff, that,
Yeah,
wasn't
it
it,
is.
just? And Phil, your autobiography is out now, not dead yet. You don't hold back. Goodness me, that is
No.
full of certainly
No.
inspiring stuff as well. But can we start at the beginning, when you were a little lad with your very, very first drum kit, and just tell us that lovely story that you put there in the book?
Well, the first thing when I was 3 that I remember was a plastic drum, you know. And back in my day, you know, when it was Christmas, you got a soldier, a ball.
Tangerine.
Yeah. Yes. You know, I mean, you didn't get the complete Star Wars fleet. You didn't get a PlayStation with all the games. So life was different. But I took to this drum, and so my uncles, family uncles, made me a drum kit when I was 5. And then I gradually... I got to know a friend across the road who was selling a snare drum, bass drum, coincidentally. And then at 12, I made the ultimate sacrifice of selling my brother's train set.
Did you ask him permission?
No, of course
No.
not.
Yes.
Well, by that point, it was almost my train set. But, you know, my mum and I went 50% each
Right.
on a cheap drum kit, and we went to a shop called Albert's in Twickenham, which... you know, of course, is no longer there. But that, you know, I bought a drum kit, and that saw me through the early 60s, you know. And the early 60s was when it was all happening.
And it became, at one point, a bit of a toss-up, really, didn't it, between acting and drumming?
It went off for me, it didn't.
But your parents were supportive either way, weren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, they were quite keen on that path.
Yeah,
for
but I
you.
mean, back then, you know, if you want to be a drummer, you had to wait till you were 18, 19 before you could do it. Now, you know, you've got multi-platinum records on your wall if you're 14, you know. So I did the acting thing. It was great fun. I mean, some things were much more fun than others. The Artful Dodger...
There you are.
Yeah, there you are.
The Artful Dodger and Oliver with Jack Wilde there. You know, that was fantastic. Then I had some dodgy moments, and really all I wanted to do was play drums. So as soon as I could escape, I did. Much to my father's, I won't say disgust, that's too strong. He wasn't.
He wasn't
he was
convinced,
disappointed.
was he?
No.
Yeah.
He just felt what it would be better for you to go into acting as opposed
No,
to...
it'd be better for me to go into the City of London Assurance,
right.
which is what he did.
Oh, really? Oh, well, there we are. Well, listen, talking of going into the city, we took a drum kit earlier on into the city just to see what would happen, Al, if
But
we
to
just
see
left it
if
there.
we could
I mean,
find any budding Phil Collinses. This is what happened. Have a look.
It's a bit like going into a trance when you play drums.
I play African drums, but you won't play it because neighbors may complain.
Really liberating, yeah, getting all my frustrations out.
When I'm drumming, it makes me feel powerful.
How did it feel?
Excited.
What do you reckon? Anybody there that you thought had a real knack?
Well, yeah, I mean, there was some stuff at the end there that was kind of, what impressed me, actually, was that about 3 or 4 guys in, the sound changed, and it became more roomy. And that sounded impressive. So sometimes it's not what you play, it's the sound of what you play, you know. And you can do... And if the sound is right...
That's what I always say, isn't it, about drumming?
So true.
But I do think it's a great idea, you know, for kids.
Yeah.
To have, I mean, if your house allows, you know, kind of, this is me doing it. I think that's good for kids.
I couldn't agree more. And your household has been full of music. And you were saying earlier on about your sons and how they both are brilliant, brilliant drummers, both Simon and Nick.
Well, Simon's 40 now, you know, he's a fantastic drummer. He plays piano, writes, sings, you know, does his own records. Nicholas, he's 15 now, and he's awesome drummer, I have to say, awesome. And I haven't taught them. I mean, Matthew, my youngest, is a fantastic soccer player.
Right.
You know, I say soccer because it's American, man. You know, it's football, really. If you live over there, you know, football's something else. But it's yeah, I'm very lucky. All my kids have become very talented. You know?
Yeah.
And it's just as well, really. It's just as well, though, Phil, isn't it? Because, you know, your dedication to drumming has resulted, and you talk very candidly in the book about it, in lots and lots of health problems as a result. How are you now, then?
I'm okay. I'm okay. Actually, I'm okay. I mean, I've still got this problem with my left arm a little bit. It's getting better, and I should practice. You know, you get to Carnegie Hall by practicing. But I had back surgery a year ago, and that kind of left me with a numb foot, hence the stick that I ride in. And it's just that the nerves need to regenerate. Yeah. So I'm apart from that, I'm fine. You know.
Yeah.
And that's why I called the book "Not Dead Yet."
Yeah.
Because a lot has been made of the health, you know.
Yeah, and this book, I mean, it took you, didn't it, about 5 years to write it. You've waited a long time to do it, and what's the reason for you putting all this down? Because you say at the beginning, in the first few pages, this is my view. You know, what happened, these are the events the way I see them. So have you tried to kind of set the record straight with this?
Well, it wasn't meant to be a get-even book. It was just to take a bit of the lid off things. You know, that we all have... We've all got, you know, we've all been young with our mums and dads, we have children. And suddenly, you know, you can fall, and the accident, you know, witnesses to accidents. You know, someone said he wore a grey jumper, someone said he wore a blue jumper, somewhere said... We all perceive things differently.
Yeah.
And so, in life, my camera went off at a certain time, and I remember things a certain way. So I kind of preempt that by saying, you know, this is my view. This is the way I remember it happening.
Well, Phil, it is just the most extraordinary read, page after page, decade after decade. And we haven't got any more time to talk about it because we talked about so much this evening. But anyway, go out and read it. It's out on Thursday. It really is something else. Phil, we have to say a very big thank you to Phil Collins this evening. The album, which we really never got a chance to talk about, the singles, is out now, all 34 of them.
And we'll be back tomorrow with Donny Osmond. We'll see you there. Have a lovely evening.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you very much.